Welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League from every angle. Joining me for the second night in a row, Dan Ganane. Let's bring the journos straight in, Paul Crawley and Andrew Webster. And let's take a look at the ins and outs of round 21 thanks to Sportsbet. And Sandon Smith replaces Chad Townsend for the Roosters. Moses, a big return. Hawkins therefore moves to 5'8" for the Eels. Fasaul Malawi and Fafita out for the Titans with injuries. Cleary and Yo return after being rested by the Panthers, but the big one, Lewis Dodd, named at halfback for the first time this year. Oh, there he is.
Oh.
He's the last man standing.
Fantastic.
Did we think the day would come? It's a bit cheeky, isn't it?
It's cheeky, but how they've handled him has been fascinating. They clearly don't think he's good enough. But if they're going to put him in the shop front, if they want to get rid of him, if he's not going to be part of the club, you might as well try and get rid of him. You might as well put him in the shop front window and see what he's got in first grade.
It's a bit sad, isn't it, really? Like,
I feel sorry for him.
He would have come over here with great expectations. This charity shield, it started in, didn't he? He got sin-binned at the end of the first half. Humphreys came on. Humphreys owned the spot and it never, ever changed throughout the entire year. And now it's got to the stage where it's become an albatross around South's neck. And I don't know how they go forward into this next year because he's got 2 more years to run on a contract, and they've got to come to some resolution.
It is sad for him, Webby. But what was South thinking?
In signing him, that's a matter for South. Look, all I can assume is that Phil Blake wasn't available this weekend, so they couldn't pick him. Tugger Coleman, no, he wasn't there. Tricky Trindle, it is one of the more bizarre, recruitments. Really, it's not like it's a small.
We still don't know who signed him.
I think Mark Ellison is the recruitment manager. I'm sure he had some say in it. I think I've said it on this show a few times. As far as I can understand it, Wayne didn't stand in the way of it, but I think it was a long way down the track.
Is that a problem?
Conversation
is that a problem, though?
with Dodd before.
So you think Wayne was involved?
I think he didn't stand in the way of it. That's how it's been explained to me.
Okay. But is it a bit strange though that a recruitment officer, whatever you call him, he goes and gets a number 7 from overseas and he makes the call on it? Isn't that a bit strange in itself?
I'm sure that it's always
this
more than one person.
This happened before Bennett had signed, though. So
that's right.
But wouldn't you wait for a head coach to make a call like that?
You would think, and they should have. Of course they should have, Braith. Look at it.
But people in England were surprised. Now he is a premiership-winning halfback, but it was... Is there a chance that South pushed the button when he kicked that field goal in the World Club Challenge, which is really, let's be honest, in our part of the world, it's a glorified exhibition game. With all due respect to the English sides who really take it seriously, it's a glorified exhibition game in February. He kicks a field goal, they win 13-12. Is that a $2 million field goal that he kicked?
You'd like to hope not, wouldn't you? You'd like to think there was a bit more depth to it than that. But you're right, I've heard from people both in the UK and other recruiters here in the NRL that they were surprised that South signed him, but also threw that amount of money at him. Look, it's a $2 million mistake. I know I've heard of other Super League clubs being interested in getting him, but is he? They want to be offering some pretty heavy coin to move Lewis Dodd, or for Lewis Dodd to want to move away from the $700,000 a year contract he's on. Further
to that, regardless of how he plays this week and the back end of the year, will he be at the club next year? Do we know?
I would be surprised.
Yeah. I don't know how it can be, because Souths have to look back on this season and they've had a rotten run with injuries. But we've said it previously, I think that they also have to take some ownership of where this club has gone the last few years. I think you go back to the grand final, and ever since it's almost like they've been treading water, hoping that they can reinvent what they had previously. But the players are getting older. Cody's another year older next year. He's had a shocking run of injuries. Latrell has his moments. He has his moments, but is he up with the real gun fullbacks in the game at the moment? I'm not so sure.
There's your list, Crawls. You got to work today on the injury list and the worth of player that is on the sideline at the moment.
That puts in perspective why they're sitting down the bottom of the ladder, doesn't it? And a lot of these injuries have been ongoing all year. Like Latrell's had massive amounts of time out. Cameron Murray hasn't been there all year. Keon's now gone for the season. Campbell Graham, even when he's been playing, has been injured. That whole list, there's $6 million worth of talent. Again, I don't know if that's the excuse, because if all these guys are on the park, I'm still not sure that South would be up near the top of the premiership.
Well, a lot of them were on the park last year, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
And it's a good point you make. It's a bit of the unknown right now. Everyone thought they may improve on last year, this year, but we haven't been able to see that because we haven't really seen a full-strength South team at all.
What's their future, though? Easy to write this year off, correct to write this year. Their season was done when Cam Murray went, and that was in, February. What's their future? Because their best front rower is a second rower in Kern Kalamatangi. Cody Walker is at that age, unfortunately, where he's getting old man injuries. But even Wayne Bennett acknowledged, and credit to him, we're taking a risk, but we had to take a risk to sign him. Latrell plays 14 games a year. It's fact. He's played 85 games in 6 years at South, so he's going to miss 10 games.
This is why I think that Souths are in that position now where they have to start making some really tough decisions because they're getting further away from the teams up at the top of the premiership. They're not getting closer. And even when you look at what they've got there for next year, I'm still not convinced they're going to challenge the top teams with what they've got. They've got to bring some players in.
They need some middle forwards. That's what they've been missing all year.
They need a gun halfback.
I know that, but I get that. But they also need some middles, and I know they haven't had. But through injury and form, they haven't had that at all this year. And look where they are on the ladder reflects it. I'm going to be very careful what I say about how that being a mitigating factor, because last time I was on this show and I talked about how South's injury toll is like one of the worst we've seen in a long time. I got bashed up on social media from Roosters supporters telling me. And they make a good point that the Roosters have had many seasons.
A lot of clubs have.
Many seasons of bad injury issues. But the Roosters have always still managed to find a way to make the eight. They're not at the bottom of the table.
And normally Wayne finds a way with whatever team he's got.
That's right.
You know, so that's the little bit of a surprise. I really think they've got to change a lot about their recruitment, South. So I think they've got to take a different direction moving forward. And I say this because you look at their New South Wales Cup team, they're coming last. Their Jersey Fleg's second last. Their junior competition is nowhere near where it used to be. They're not like clubs like Melbourne, Roosters and the like who have got academies that they really invest time and money into and bring players to the club and spend money on young players and develop them and bring them in. They rely a lot on their juniors and the talent coming through. And I think it's not how it used to be there. And that's not through their own fault. It's just that there's not as much participation
South
in the area.
Juniors is just strong.
The South Juniors competition is as strong as it used to be. And they tend to be quite limited with the money they spend on these kids.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head there because even this injury toll this year would have opened the door for a lot of guys, but they just don't seem to have the talent coming through at that club at the moment.
When they won the comp,
put pressure.
I think they had something like over 10 juniors that were in the top 30 or something. They had a lot. They had 5 or 6 in the grand final winning team. They just don't have that at the moment. They got
also
a few.
had Sam.
Yeah, of course.
But
They did, and they had Greg Inglis.
But to your point, Dan, about like why they should be, maybe Bennett should be playing Dodd to shop him to get him to another club. I think it's actually. I understand why Wayne's not picking him. It's like this kid's not up to. He's not up to first grade standard.
And you might.
What does it say? What does it say if we pick him? When he's just not going good enough in reserve.
And I felt sorry
I think
for him
that says
last
a lot about, like, at least culturally, I think they're headed in the right direction. As long as Bennett's there, they always will be.
Yeah.
But their roster is all out of whack.
He was on for 25 minutes last week, and I felt for him. I was calling the game. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know, should I get my hands on the ball? Should I sit back? The poor bugger is completely lost.
Yeah. All right, what about Alex Johnson? He has signed until the end of 2027. Did the Rabbitohs need to sign him on a 2-year deal? That was the first thing that stood out to me. Great player, looking to break that record, club man, deserves to be re-signed and given another year, I believe. Did he need 2?
I don't think he did. I was surprised it was 2. It surprised a lot of people around the game. To me, it looked like an emotional decision. I think it was like, if he's going to break Ken Irvine's record, it's not going to be anywhere but at this club. And maybe they needed to offer him 2 to make sure he didn't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what other offers are on the table.
Is that a part of the problem here? They're just showing too much loyalty to the players that they've got there.
I think that's
which is honourable.
Yeah.
But is it going to get them where they need to get to?
I think it is an emotional decision with him, though. Like, there's no way in the world that they could have let him go. But again, Braith, you're hitting on a good point, and this is going back to the problems that they had when Sam and that was there. Things have just fallen away over time. I don't think it's happened in 6 months. It hasn't happened in 12 months. It's been a slow build over the last few years where things have just gone, they've got out of control.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right, it has to change. They have to make really, really tough decisions going forward because I think they need to turn over their roster.
All right, let's talk about a few more teams and we'll go to the Parramatta Eels. Moses back, but 5 wins this season. Should Riles be under more scrutiny than what he's been under, or are we happy with the way they're tracking at the moment?
Isn't he doing exactly what you want for a team in a rebuild? i.e., he's not worried about wins and losses. He's clearing out the players that he knows are not going to be there. Dylan Brown, he's open and saying the future is now. He's seeing what's there. And it's a honeymoon year, let's be honest. The first-year coach always gets a honeymoon. But isn't this the template of how all clubs in a rebuild should be doing it?
I'm 100% with you. I think he's done an exceptional job, Jason Riles. I think the 5 wins is irrelevant. You know, I think he copped so much flack early on in the season about the decision to move Gutho on and when things weren't working. And then, you know, I think things have started to turn. Yeah. And they mightn't have won 5 games, but they've been in a hell of a lot of them in the second half of the season. I think Jason Riles has got that club going in the right direction.
I questioned the Gutho call at the start of the year, but the more you see of Iongi, you kind of think, well, long term, he's probably made the right call. What I've really liked about Jason Riles this year is that through a really difficult time and when he could have easily lost his head, he kept composure.
Yeah.
He kept calm. I've rarely seen him lose his temper. And it's just been, it's given you an insight into obviously a bloke that's going to be around for a long time. I agree the decision with Dylan Brown, I've heard people knock it and say, well, it's given up on the season. I think the opposite. Yeah. I think it's given them a look at what may be.
Yeah, I think it's the style too, which they're playing. They're playing a really expansive style. Their attack has improved, and that's without Moses. You know, Moses comes back in. They've missed him for a lot of the year as well, so that's hurt them. The defence was really poor at the start of the year because he changed all the systems, but that's improved as well as the season's gone on. And you look at, and I said it earlier on in the year, you look at the Bulldogs with Cameron Ciraldo, and he culled a lot of players, and they went 10 steps backwards before they started this run to get to where they are now. And I see a comparison there with Riles. But I think the big question is, Riles has culled a lot, and it is a comparison to Ciraldo. They've probably taken a couple of steps back. He's got really Gutho, RCG, Cartwright, Madison today. So who's coming in? Do we know? Who do they need? Who should they look for? Is there... Are we concerned about next year if he hasn't bought too many players?
I think even with the players that they have and some of the juniors that they do have coming through, I think they will grow as a team. Like Iongi's only going to get better, isn't he?
Of course.
Yes.
Papali's going to get better.
Good. Yes.
They've got Talon De Silva that's come to the club now. They've got some pretty decent young forwards who are emerging, and it may take a year or two for them to find their feet. When Mitchell Moses is there, it makes such a hell of a difference.
We've got no patience in this game anymore. Rebuilds take time, as you said, Dan. They take time. Hey?
There is no patience in this game.
Well, but there needs to be.
Patience this year, Webby, won't be patience next year.
I get that. But let me say this. You look at what... Like, I know Ricky and the relationship that he has with Donny Ferner and Canberra is different, but is it a classic example of a coach not coaching for his future? That he can actually build and build his squad and get to what he needs in, not worried that he's got a coach to make sure he doesn't get sacked at the end of the season. And I think that's a real value that
it's a great point.
That clubs really need to embrace, and that's exactly what Parramatta need to embrace because they're starting from ground zero at the start of this year.
And there's a
and I think they're
maturity.
going the right direction.
They had a good era, right? They had a good era with that core group. They made a grand final. They were constantly competing, but it's over. I think the only one they're going to regret losing is Talangi. That's the only one that's going to bite them. That they're going to.
Sanders is another one.
Well, that one too. Well, we don't know yet, but he does look good. But the rest of them, it was time to.
Parramatta have shown that they are a club that do have patience. Like Arthur was there for a decade.
Yeah.
You know, and you talk about that decision, the comparison with the Raiders, and Fogarty's a great example because that's a Ricky not coaching for his future. They wanted to give 2 years at the most. Manly offered 3. They weren't willing to go down that path. Riles has to make choices that he thinks are for the long term. Gutherson's a good one that he did.
All right, for the Roosters, Townsend is out and Smith is in, but do the Roosters regret their selection last week? of Chad Townsend and not going with Sandon Smith?
How could
Could that come back to bite them?
Well, it could. They go into this game this weekend, don't they? That was a big loss for them, because now are they 4 points outside the 8? They go, or 2 points outside. They could be 4 at the end of the weekend, and trying to catch that up with the season dwindling away. I don't know. I just think it was proven to be wrong.
I thought it was strange. I really did. I was surprised by it. I thought, why? Is Sandon injured? I thought. I know Hugo is. I see him around my area. I know he's out and I knew he wasn't playing, but I thought Sandon must be injured. No disrespect to Chad, but I think his days in first grade are gone, right? And I hate saying that because he's a great guy and he's had a great career, but Sandon is a quality player. Yeah, they may not be keeping him next year given what's happened with DCE and all that, but that was a critical game. It was one that they really needed to win against the side they could have beat. And it was a big risk, and I think, obviously it was a failure. But I'm just thinking the repercussions of that in a few weeks' time could be severe.
Well, even this week, like if the Sharks beat the Rabbitohs, as you probably suspect they will, and if Manly would have pulled off an upset against the Bulldogs, that puts them in a position where they're going to be pushing it uphill to try and make the 8.
Well, they're 2 points out of the 8, but to your point, because their for and against is the worst of that group of 4. So they're effectively 2 wins outside the 8. So you have a look at that run home. Look, Melbourne, the unfortunate situation where Cam Munster is sadly out this week because he's at his dad's funeral, it makes their job a little bit easier this week. Manly all of a sudden starting to look like they're running into form. Dolphins are no pushover. Dogs, and then you got Melbourne again. So I tell you what, if they make it, Brate, they're going to earn it.
Do you think they make it?
Well, they've got to push in front of Manly and the Sharks and the Dolphins. They've got to push in front of 2 of those.
Reedy reckons there's no chance. He's been saying it for about 4 months.
It is funny, though, how their run has died. Not that long ago, I know other clubs, all of them privately, were saying that that's the team they actually
They were a danger team.
They for sure.
And if they beat Melbourne with no Cameron Munster, which they can, they're back on track. But
that's right.
They've gone off a little bit, got off track last week,
If Manly knock off the Dogs on Sunday, that makes life very, very hard for the Roosters because that's another. They've still got to get 2 more wins than them at least.
Do they make it or not? Before we move on.
No.
Okay. Kevin Walters to be named Kangaroos coach. We think. We're still not sure. But is it the right choice?
I don't think there's any other choice they can make. I just think the whole thing's been a complete stuff up. I really do. They've rushed through the Perth team. They rushed through Mal Meninga as coach. I don't think they had any foresight about who was going to replace him as Kangaroos coach for a very big series against the Poms later this year. Brad Fittler had the job. It got leaked out there from the NRL. He's backflipped and said, no, I don't want to do it. And then they had no choice. But then there was going to be Wayne. They're going to change the rules. Then that got floated out. Then that got knocked on the head. And then it's come to Kevin Walters. Usually around this time, this close to international games at the end of the year, staff are already picked and they're already discussing where they're going to be training, hotels. All that stuff's been put on hold. Like their first game is against England at Wembley in front of 65,000 people. Kevin Walters will probably lose his front row in Tino and Payne Haas to Samoa. They've got all these injury dramas. Liam Martin's not going to be available.
Do you have any mail on that while we're there?
What's that?
Tino and Haas?
I don't know, but it's just no. But it seems. Okay. But I know within the Australian setup, what there is of the Australian setup, they're pretty pessimistic about them playing.
Do you fear, Braith? Slightly different topic.
Hammer's the other one too.
Yeah.
Do you fear the players are going to pull out? Because we've already seen, and I'm not saying they were going to be part of Kangaroo Tours, but Latrell's already shut it down, and he might be gone for the year. Val Holmes. Do you think this is going to be commonplace now?
This is the problem we have now, and it happened last year, didn't it? I think Kalen pulled out.
Yeah.
Because it's a long year, and the Origin's tough, physical. We've got injuries at the back end. They want to get surgeries and be right for the year after. But I don't get it, because if I'm offered an Australian jersey, I'm sprinting.
How sad, though, that you would not want to play at Wembley in front of 70,000 people.
But people of our generation know the history of Kangaroo Tours, right? But there hasn't been a Kangaroo Tour for 25 years. Does this generation realise how big this is?
We grew up with it, didn't we? It was amazing.
But the biggest difference now is what you just spoke about, the possible, You're likely to lose Payne Haas, you're likely to lose Tino, and you're likely to lose Hammer, and we've already lost all these other. That's why it was so crucial that they got this decision right on the coach. And good luck to Kevy, right? Good luck to him. He's a good coach, and he's proven that he's up to representative football. But I just think that regardless of if it's Kevy or someone else, Coaching Australia should go to the best candidate. It shouldn't matter if they're a club coach. These games are held at the end of the season. There's no way, like they're finished by the end of November. There's no way in the world you couldn't have a club coach doing this.
Crawls, isn't the truth the reason we went to that system, it was a way to justify full-time salary for what is essentially, whether it's Origin coach, whether it's test coach, it's a part-time job.
Because if you go back to, Dan, I'm not convinced Freddie was the best decision. You know, if he was their first contender, I would question that.
I think the best person for that job, given the limited preparation, was Bennett. I know you can sit there and talk about South. Well, that's on South. South were prepared to let him take the job. Wayne would have been perfect. He's got to get them up in a short period of time. They're going to have like a handful of training sessions when they get over there. I just think Wayne.
You've got to get them on the plane.
Well, that's right. But I just think Wayne, and also in terms of like those, like the likes of Tino and Payne Haas. So this is no disrespect to Kevy, but Wayne's got some gravitas that will probably could make them stay in Australian jumper. I think the commission's really stuffed up the entire process, to be honest.
Back to Kevy, 3-game deal. Is that because he has intentions of being an NRL coach, that it's only a short deal, or is it maybe a lack of confidence?
I'm not sure. I think it's the latter, to be honest. I think, to me, it doesn't sound like a vote of confidence in Kevin Walters as the coach. I think it's like, well, you're the only one we've got left, so we're going to have to give you this job. But remember, there's a World Cup next year. As I said, like the ARL Commission has been sitting there and telling the Super League how to run their business and how they want international football to be stronger than ever. Well, they probably should treat their own position, their own national head coaching position, with a bit more respect.
Hypothetically, though, that opens up another can of worms with Kevy, because let's just say he was to go on and get the Titans job. Then he's an NRL coach. Does that change his position as the Kangaroos coach?
It should. Well, that's the reason why they're not giving it to Wayne.
But even
what
for
they
this
should have
year,
done? They should have given it. They should have let Mal do it. They really, Mal would have been the best person for the role.
Go back.
Anyway,
all right. Hasler explodes in the sheds. We've all seen the vision of this. What's he say about Des and his relationship with the players at the moment?
Tells you that he's fed up, doesn't it?
It does.
You know, when Des went there, I actually thought he would do a really good job. I thought he would be a good fit for this club. And to see how it's unfolded, I'm still not convinced Des is not the right man. I think that the problem is this club. They're just, that's where you go to kill your career. Because they've had Des, they've had... No, seriously, you go back. Holbrook was there. Yeah. Garth Brennan, Neil Henry was doing a good job until they pulled his pants down. Like, it's like this club.
What kills
Des
them?
is not the biggest problem.
What kills them?
It's the culture of this club. It's the culture of this club. Until they... You had Kieran Foran on a couple of weeks ago, and I thought he said a really good thing when you had him on the heavy hitters section at the end of the show. And he said, you know what he said? When you're going through these tough times, sometimes you just got to dig in. They don't dig in.
No. You could put a tape on. You could put a tape on of a game from this year and from 2 years ago when it was a different coach, and both would look exactly the same. The same 15-minute collapse where they let in 3 tries. There's a mental softness there that...
Do you see positive signs there? Like...
No, I was just asking the question.
But you're right.
I don't think you're wrong. I'm just asking you what you think and why.
I'm just surprised. I'm just disappointed that Adore didn't come off the frame like they did at when he was coaching Manly. All those, was it Manly or maybe Canterbury? But yeah, here we go.
It just shows. This
is one of the great moments in rugby league.
It just shows.
Jamie Lyons
killer. It just shows though that they got so much work to do up there. Like
they do.
They really. You talk about Parramatta and what Rolls has done, and you talk about Serrato and Gus at the Bulldogs, they've got to do that and more. Like, they've really got to strip it all back. And you said it. If they got the same style, same habits as they've had for nearly a decade. Like, what are they going to do? Who are they going to get in there, and how are they going to fix this?
Well, I think it was the most telling thing. The most telling thing was that he was prepared to do it right in front of Rebecca Frizzell, who's now taken over complete ownership of that club. And I do actually have a lot of faith in the Frizzells.
Why?
Because I just think they're quality operators, and now that they've got complete control of that club.
Quality,
and I think
they
I also
are quality operators, right?
Yeah,
they've been there for a long time.
they have.
And they're obviously very successful in what they do in their business. They're very successful. But what makes them? What's going to transition that into success as a rugby league football club?
I just think that this is their opportunity to do it their way, 100%. And I think there's a feeling amongst, particularly people of the Gold Coast, that it's if it's ever going to happen, it's going to happen now.
Okay, good.
But whether but it is the Bermuda Triangle of rugby league, the Gold Coast.
You had to finish with you had to bring it back to the Bermuda Triangle. It's where people go to die, apparently.
Exactly. I just want a little out in case it doesn't work.
Okay, well, next question. Yeah, not everyone. Des, will he be there beyond next week? It's his 500th game. Is it a milestone? Will they just let him coach that game and then?
I didn't care for that story, and it was Buzz got that. I'm sure he got it 100% right. This is good journalism. I didn't like the specific of they're going to let him have his 500th and then they're going to move him on. I do think as limited success as Des has had, he deserves a bit more respect than that. I let him see out the season.
I agree. He deserves to coach out the year. He's a proud man, Des. He deserves to be.
And is it going to change anything,
No.
bringing someone in at this stage of the season?
Yeah. As the great Seabold said, we're all going to die one day. Stick around, journos. Tomorrow morning, Australia's tour of the West Indies continues. The Aussies chase back-to-back wins in the second T20 against the West Indies tomorrow, 9:45 a.m. on ESPN.
Didn't see him coming. And Strange prove in and stop! Not quite. Shortened up the finish by Williams.
Tracy given the kitchen stick by Jaden Sewer.
Putting up a kick which has...
Preston, he gives Gunderson the business.
Welcome back. Those were our crunch time hits of the round. Thanks to Red Rooster. And let's get back to those two calls that have set the rugby league world on fire. And we've got two fresh journos on to talk about it. I'll give you the floor. What do you think? What did you think?
Well, I'm a Dragons fan, so I'm biased. But
Here you go.
his left knee is on the floor. It's on the ground.
Who?
Karaz. Look. There. He's trying to play the ball. He's not on his feet.
Please explain. His left knee's on the ground.
Yeah, it is.
He's there. His left knee's on the ground. He's trying to play the ball.
Okay.
So that's
So
that's
you're with
an
Flano?
incorrect play the ball.
You're with Flano, all right, Crawls?
Flano forever.
Yeah, well, I reckon I can see both sides. It's a 50-50. I am. Even though Leilua's foot comes up, that's all happened because Karaz is rushing to play the ball. He hasn't got up and done his job there.
The defence
That's what I think. And the same with the kick-out one, where he throws the ball into, is it Sloane? How are they saying that was a pass? Like, even if it was a pass, he's chucked it straight into him. Sloane he was already in the tackle.
Can't agree with you on this one, Crawls.
2 for 2, Crawls. Keep going.
Well, no, I do. And the other thing I think
Just
about
watch this angle here. He's quick hands there.
Well, it wasn't quick enough. It was never going to meet its mark.
You know
How
what
do
the
you know
problem
that?
is? You know
He
what
got
the
knocked down
problem
by
is?
Sloane.
There's no angle that can
You
stop.
can't. So you can definitely say he's knocked that on. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think Sloane has played at that ball in any way,
doesn't
shape
matter.
or form.
It doesn't matter. He's making a tackle.
You bring up a much bigger point. It bothers me when players are trying to genuinely make a tackle.
That's all he's doing.
That's all he's
It doesn't
doing.
matter, though.
Ball hits the hand and we just automatically say, well, his arm's there, he's played at that.
Well, even if you think that, I say again, it's probably a 50-50. But this is what I'm getting at with the Dragons and a lot of other teams. Richo said it a few weeks ago. There's this unconscious bias. I truly do believe, and I'm not saying the refs are cheats or they're trying to favour one team. I think it's human nature that the better sides are going to get a go. And with the Dragons, you could think of 1,000 reasons that they stuffed that game up themselves. Their kicking game in the first half was terrible. Their game management, Gutho going for the short dropout. You just keep going. You can find all these reasons. But when I look at their roster and I look at where the Bulldogs are on the comp and the fact that they were so close in the end, those calls, they do break your heart because they've played above themselves to stay against the Bulldogs in that game. And it's like all the 50-50 calls go to the top teams yet again.
Did I hear Shane Flanagan there looking at what he said? And they can't be, can they? What he said, I thought was, while I thought you keep losing close games, it's not just the referees. He doesn't deserve any.
I haven't heard anything.
No, I haven't at all, but, you know, they are very sensitive to criticism.
No, that can't be. That can't be a fine.
So you reckon they got it right, all of this, or wrong?
Well, look, I can see both sides. I really can. Like, if you're cheering for the Bulldogs, you probably go the other way on those. But I honestly don't think Sloane, he committed to that tackle. That's why I thought that's just Kikau's mistake. And in the other one, I agree with Webby, and I think that Leilua had no chance to get out of the way of that.
Buzz would be loving this tonight. He'd be spewing he's not on here, you know, because you guys have just backed him.
I see enough, Buzz. I don't need any more. Yeah. But I was watching last night's show and I felt like texting Buzz going, mate, for once in your life, you're actually right.
All right, a young kid by the name of Lockie Galvin played halfback on the weekend, if you didn't notice. How'd he go, boys?
He went pretty good. Like, he came up with the big moment, didn't he? Prior to that, his game was okay.
I thought he was good. He scored a try, set up the match winner. You know, he wasn't brilliant, but it's going to take time. As I said, patience. We need some more patience.
I don't know about the patience bit though, mate, because they're playing the Dragons on the weekend, right? And they scrape home on a couple of dodgy calls. Am I allowed to say that?
You can say that.
No, but they did. They scraped home against the Dragons, right? The week earlier, they scraped home against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I get it.
2 weeks prior to that, they lost to the Panthers and the Broncos. So when you put that month of football together, and against the Cowboys too, I'll go back to that try. I'd love to have another look at that one, where Kikau accidentally on purposely knocked Drinkwater out. But
I got a feeling. I said what I said last night. They haven't really beaten much. Not their fault. That's the draw. I got a feeling after Sunday, we're going to think more definitively one way or the other about them. It's a big event game. It's a big 30-year celebration for them. That football. That's the first time they're playing at the new football stadium. Big crowd. Doggies home game. Manly's been their nemesis. Now, Manly, Braith, we can't trust Manly. Now, if Manly came out and won, we wouldn't be shocked. I got a feeling Dogs might have a big day on Sunday afternoon. They're a good daytime team.
I agree.
When I say patience, I don't mean so much about Canterbury, but just Galvin. I mean, I think he made some good points last night. Like, let's see how it is in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, he's been finally got as a starting halfback. Let's just see, give the kid a break and let him see how things happen in 3 weeks to a month's time. If it starts to fall apart, then they've got obviously real issues.
What about this?
They've got wins in the bank to be able to
they've earned that.
To let it work.
They've had a great year. They've earned it. But I want to ask this question: whether it's Galvin or Sexton, are they a premiership threat? Can they win a competition? Whether you had Galvin in there, Sexton in there,
I didn't have him winning it this year. But I think they can next.
I think they've shown this year that they can win it. But I think if they do win it, it comes on the back of their defence, not their attack. Like, there was a point this season where they were so far ahead of everyone else when it came to their commitment and their camaraderie, the way that they just dug in for each other. And to me, that's what's been missing.
Every team is flawed. When you think of it, there's no superpower. Melbourne, we keep thinking and click their fingers. Yeah. They've got some real defensive deficiencies in one particular portion of the field. Canberra go to sleep for 20 minutes every game. Warriors have got injuries. Penrith are going to be tired. They're rocketing into the finals, but how much juice have they used? Brisbane's starting to look all right. But every team...
It's anyone's.
Braith, it's there.
It's a lottery.
They're not out of it by any means, the Dogs.
They aren't. There's no doubt about that. Now, Peter Parr to take over from Phil Gardner as the Knights CEO. Do we like this?
Well, he's got a big job. Keep the captain and sack the coach. That's his to-do list. I think it was even talked about in March. This was going to happen, but I'm not joking. They're the two big issues that Parry's got to deal with. You know, I know Callum Ponga's said via Instagram that he's going to stay.
Is there any truth to that? Have they convinced him? Is the Instagram post
that's the end of it?
Is that definitive?
Do you think that's the end of the section there, Brace? Because I don't.
Well, here it is.
I don't. I've seen Callum Ponga so many times say that he's going nowhere, and then all of a sudden,
This has been a constant for a
spark
long
up
time.
about the All Blacks.
It's been a constant for a long time.
Yeah.
Is he staying? Is he going? Is he staying? Is he going?
The thing I find interesting is what it means for the coach. I don't know whether that sort of declaration that he's staying, what that means for Adam O'Brien.
That he's been told one way or the other where this is going.
That's right. I'm not sure what that answer is,
Yes.
but to me, I would have thought that the captain and the best player on 1.4 a year would want to know the future of the coach.
You're not going to put out that if you don't know what's happening at the end of the year.
You would imagine the captain of most clubs, if that discussion was going on about their future, they would put out more than a post on Instagram. They'd come out and tell the fans. If he was truly committed to that club until the end of 2027, you'd imagine it might have been a little bit more. And you're right about Parr. Parr comes into this job. He has a lot of friends in rugby league. He's been around for a long time. He's a Newcastle boy. But he really has to grab hold of this club and show leadership, because it's everything that's been happening above the team that's let this club down in recent years.
That's right.
They've made so many poor decisions in so many areas. It needs a boss, and Peter Parr's got the opportunity. If Gardner's going to step out of the way, he's got to come in and show he can do a damn good job. But I think it is time, and there's still a lot of mail going around about O'Brien's future.
West Newcastle were their saviours after the Tinkler debacle. Phil Gardner, West Newcastle. Does that affect the money if he goes? Does that affect?
No.
That's okay.
No, they're still owners.
Okay, very good. So
is he still
now
there?
we've got a football person in that job.
That's right.
So you would think it would be an improvement. You would think it would be an improvement.
You would, but also Parry has been there for 3 years as head of football.
You're right. That's my point.
You know, that's the thing.
right.
But I also
right.
think that a lot of the dysfunction at that club it's going to take time to unwind it. A lot of those contracts and that roster.
Okay, Webby, you've been writing about this. How serious is the Rebel rugby competition?
Nut. No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's going to. I don't think league clubs have to be as concerned about it as they are.
Why?
I think it's a long way up, because I know people that have seen the proposal and just said that it'll take a stack of money for it to get up. So a lot of the reports are that the Saudis are backing it. That is just being speculated, and it's never been confirmed whatsoever. So all these stories are Saudi-backed league, Saudi-backed league. That's. I don't think that's the case. So if they want it to happen, they're going to have to get the money from somewhere, and I don't think it's there. I don't think it's there, and I also just think there's too much for. I think it would appeal to people at the back end of their careers, but why would you want to go and play in a 12-round rugby union competition and never play Origin?
Yeah.
It's
$2 million maybe.
You're going to make a comeback.
Not me.
It would appeal.
I tore my hemi jogging down the street. I'm
And
not
it would
playing
appeal.
that.
It would appeal if it was to get off the ground. It would appeal to the players of the world, like the Pongas, like the Reece Walshes. If you have achieved a lot in rugby league already, and there's an opportunity to double your salary, you would imagine if like rugby league forwards, not many rugby league forwards are going to be suited to going over there, and there's so many great rugby union nations in the world. There'll only be the select few, but you do run the risk of losing some potential superstars.
As I said, people I know, and that's not just in Australia but overseas, who have seen the proposal, just think it's delusional. That's the word they use. It's going to get up.
Okay, stick around, journos. Up next is the players' perspective with Raiders stars Hudson Young and Matty Nicholson. Welcome back. Let's cross live now to Raiders stars Hudson Young and Matty Nicholson. Thanks for joining us, boys. Another great win on the weekend. You guys are absolutely killing it down there in Canberra. Are you surprised with how well this season has gone?
Not really, to be honest. We spoke about a lot of things during the off-season, and we had a really big pre-season and army camp where we got a lot of things out of that, and we've seen the development of younger players and what they could bring, and players like Matty coming over from England. So we've exceeded a lot of people's expectations, but we haven't exceeded ours.
Matty, lovely to meet you. When you joined, your old coach Sammy Burgess, he said, this guy, he's young, he's going to make it, but it's going to take a little while. Well, he got everything right except to take a little while because it took you no time at all. Did you find it not easy, but did you find the transition perhaps easier than you may have anticipated?
I'm not sure really. I think the pre-season helped me. Pre-season were the biggest I've done, obviously, and the hardest I've done as well. But you know, I think the intensity that we train at the Raiders, you know, it gets you prepped for games. So you know, when my chance came along, I think I've slotted in pretty well.
Hudson, Paul Crawley here. You said you weren't surprised with what you have achieved this year, but are you surprised about some of the individuals? I guess guy that I think of straight away is KO Weeks. Did you know what you were getting?
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I hadn't seen a lot of Weeksy before he'd come down, but I heard a lot about him that he was a talent, and it took him a little bit to find his feet within our team because he come into the halves and then Jamal got hurt, so he slotted in at halfback, and then he found his place at fullback, and each week he's just getting more and more confident, and he's such a good bloke to have around the boys, and his energy and his speed and that, it's on show every week, and we're so lucky to have him in our team.
Boys, this is a question for both of you. Ricky Stewart's intensity is legendary. It looks like he's had too much red cordial every time they go to him on the sidelines during matches. Does he ever calm down? Do you ever see a laid-back Ricky at all, or is he just like that all the time that you're around him?
No, he does relax. You see what you see on the sideline. He's such a competitor, and it's why we all love playing for him. And when you've got a coach like that that you want to go out there and represent and play for, it makes it so much easier. And but yeah, he has got a other soft side to him, and there's been plenty of stories where a lot of people need to relocate to Canberra. So he's always the first one to put his hand up, bring him over for his big steak that he cooks up and he burns half the time. But no, he loves it, and we love him.
Matty, Josh Papali'i, there were rumours that he was going to the Super League or wanted to go next year, but apparently no, he may stay. What would that mean to you and the team?
Oh, I think it'd be huge. You know, I think everyone knows what Papa brings to the Raiders, and you know, if he can sign another deal, then I think it'd be great for us. You know, he's a leader out there on the pitch. Not just you know, he doesn't say much, Papa, but he leads with his actions. And you know, when you go out there with him, you know, you want to play for Papa. So yeah, I think it'd be huge for the club and you know, for us as a team if Papa can sign again. But you know, that's up to him and his family. So yeah, hopefully we'll sign again, but it's up to Josh.
It'd be hard to see him in another jersey. Hudson, congratulations on your Origin series. I know it wasn't the result in the end, but your contribution was not unnoticed. What did you find a bit different personally this time around than your first couple of go-rounds?
I think I just felt a lot more comfortable in that arena, and it'll probably come back down to representing Australia at the end of the year. That fueled me with so much confidence and self-belief, and I can also put it down to the pre-season and the season that I had. I'm so confident in my own ability that I can go out there and do a job, whether that be on the edge or in the middle. So, yeah, I was really disappointed that we didn't get the result, and, yeah, hoping to get back there next year and get the series win.
Hudson, Paul Crawley again. Just going back to that game on the weekend against Parramatta, like when you guys turned it on, you really turned it on and you blew them away. But there was a period there where Parramatta came back and really dug into that game. I'd be interested to know, how was Ricky at half-time?
Yeah, he wasn't too happy, as you could imagine. And I thought we started the game really well, and we started to get on top there early in the game. And for whatever reason, we went away from what was working. And Parramatta are a good side. They've got great young kids coming through, and they made us pay there. I think the biggest thing that we could have done in the second half was to go out, repay our fans and the old boys that had come out to watch us play, and it would have been embarrassing if we were heading back into the sheds after that game as a loss and having to go up and have a beer with the old boys. And we were just very thankful that we come out on top and were able to have a beer and celebrate the win.
Matty, can I ask you this? Did you ever have any ambitions of coming to the NRL this early in your career? And now that you're here, what's the difference been? And do you see yourself being here long term? Do you want to play your entire career in the NRL?
Yeah, I think it was always something in the back of my mind that I wanted to come over here. You know, maybe not as early, but you know, the opportunity came and it was one I had to take. You know, I never know what's going to happen in this game, so
I definitely took it with two hands, and hopefully I can stay as long as possible. Really, I'm loving my time here at the Raiders. Before the injury, I thought I was playing some good footy too. So hopefully I can get back fit and get back playing well, and hopefully stay here for a long time.
Hudson, tell us about Ethan Strange. There's a lot of comparisons going around his running game and how it reminds a lot of people of Laurie Daly. But what's he like as a bloke, and what makes him special?
I think Ethan's such a competitor. You see what he brings every week. He backs his own ability, and he builds his game off his defence, which I think is a really strong attribute to have as a young kid coming through the halves. And playing next to him, I never have to worry about him missing tackles or blokes getting it over him, because he's a little beast, and he trains really hard, and he's always eager to learn, and he's always one of the last ones out on the field, getting reps in, whether that be kicking or passing with Jamal. So, he's a tremendous young kid, and I'm really grateful to have him on my edge. Hudson,
I've noticed you're looking pretty fit at the moment. Very strong. Well, both of you are, actually. But you on your Instagram, shirt off, looking all ripped up. What's the secret, mate? Please share it.
I'm glad you've noticed, Braith, but I'll probably have to put it down to my brand, Young Supplements, that I've recently launched for athletes out there, and all products are HACCP certified, and just looking to spread awareness and use my story for that.
That is as subtle as a sledgehammer. Quickly, I love Matty's accent. Before we go, and I love the darts, can I get, please, Matty, a 180 with a bit of gusto?
He's got a new nickname now too, called Matty Muffin. Well, but
He's made him nervous. Come on, 180.
What do you want?
Oh, damn, one of your best. One of your best. Hudson.
180.
There it is.
Yes.
Good on you, boys. You've been fantastic this year. You're having an awesome year. You're absolutely flying. Good luck for the rest of it, and hopefully you can go and win that premiership.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you for having us.
Hudson Supplements. I wanted to get a bit of that. Yeah, wouldn't mind that.
You're going to get freebies anyway, Braith. Come on.
What do you mean? I'll pay. I'm happy to pay.
You know what's noticeable? Every time you see Raiders players around each other, they love each other.
They do.
There is a bond there that is very, very special.
They're doing a great job. Thank you, journos. You two are outstanding yet again. Tonight, following NRL 360, it's face-to-face with Dolphins prop Tom Flegler. Welcome back. Good show, Dan. You think you got better with the second one, or...?
I don't think there'll be as much clickbait this time, Braith.
Okay.
I don't think the Doggies fans will hate me quite so much this time.
Did you cop it, did you?
I don't know. I'm aware that there was a tweet put out that got some very interesting responses, but I don't look at the replies, Braith.
Welcome to NRL 360.
Thank
That's
you.
it for NRL 360 for tonight. Now it's time for Face to Face.